Welcome to The Leverage Show. Get more from your business and your life. Today, I want to share with you, or help you answer the question anyway, should you hire a virtual admin? And one of the things I'm going to do for you is I'm going to help you learn from my mistakes. So I have gone out and I have hired virtual admins in the past, other outsourced employees and help, and I've had some really good experiences and I've had some really bad. And by sharing with you what I did right and what mistakes I made, I can help you understand how to do this the right way if it's something that is going to benefit you. You know, again, it's all about getting more out of our businesses, getting more out of our lives. And in order to do that, we need to find ways to get more stuff done and get it done faster and easier. And so an admin can be a huge asset to help you get that done if you get the right kind of person. So just so we have total clarity, let me jump into a quick description of the benefits and the drawbacks of a virtual versus an on-site admin, so we're totally clear on it. You know, when we're talking about a virtual admin, we're talking about somebody who isn't going to work next to you. They're not going to be in your office if you have an office, or in your house if you're working from home. They're going to be somebody that works remotely, whether it's in the United States, the United Kingdom, you know, India, the Philippines, Singapore, whatever. They could be anywhere in the world. And so there are some benefits and some drawbacks. The first benefit in most markets, in most places that you live, is a cost benefit, because you can get virtual admins relatively cheap, definitely compared to hiring anybody on a full-time basis. And so that is a huge advantage for a lot of people, especially if you're a little cash strapped or you don't have a big budget. Now, the second thing is the commitment level is different. If you go out and you hire somebody, you know, you're sort of committed to them. At least in the United States, if you hire somebody, then you have benefits and you have all these other things and payroll that you need to concern yourself with. And if you decide it isn't working out, it's kind of a pain in the neck to be able to let them go and go get somebody new. With a virtual admin, you can literally hire somebody, and if you decide one day it isn't working out, you can literally end the contract and stop paying. Now, I don't recommend you do that just from the sake of professionalism. I would still give somebody a chance, but regardless, the commitment level is a lot less. The speed. In order to hire somebody for your local office or whatever, you're going to need to post jobs. You're going to need to wait, interview candidates. They may need to give notice wherever they're currently working. It can take weeks at a minimum, sometimes months, to actually hire somebody who you feel is right for the job by the time you find them and they actually start on their first day. With a virtual admin, you literally could post it today and hire somebody in a few hours. So the speed at which you can make things happen is a lot faster as well. And then there's an issue of quality of work. Now, this is something where with a virtual admin, you have a lot less control over, because the person isn't sitting there with you. They're not able to, just correspond with you and interact with you in person, where you can get an understanding of who they are and sort of develop that chemistry. They can reach out to you by instant message. They can reach out to you in a few different ways, but it's not quite the same as when you have somebody there who can learn from you, right there in your own office. And so sometimes the quality of work with a virtual admin will not be as good. It can be a challenge. And so those are some of the benefits and reasons you'd want to hire a virtual admin, but at the same time, one of the potential drawbacks, obviously, is the quality of work and likewise their commitment to you. If you have a full-time employee in your office, most likely they're going to be pretty committed to the job, whereas if they're remote, they could actually do the same thing. They could find a better opportunity and just up and disappear, and that has happened to me. Okay, let me share with you now some mistakes that I've made and what the right way to do this is if you decide that you want to hire a virtual admin. One of the mistakes that I made was I just got so excited. I wanted to hire somebody and just hand them a bunch of stuff and expect them to just get it done. I figured, look, They're an admin, right? I mean, this is their skill set. They said that they could do this. They said that they could do transcription. They said that they could do support and they could manage my email. So I bring them on and then I just start dumping a bunch of stuff on them. And then I'm like, okay, I feel liberated because it's all off of my desk. But then days go by and I check back in and guess what? The work either isn't done or it isn't done right. And that's a common mistake a lot of people make when they start outsourcing, because when you finally take the plunge and you go to do it, it has this liberating feel where you just feel great about it. You're like, oh yeah, let me just offload all this. Here's the reality. The reality is you need to invest time when somebody is getting started. You can't just hire somebody, no matter what their skill set is, and expect them to jump in and just start doing it exactly the way you want them to do it from day one. You need to be willing to focus on them and invest some time in them in the short term, so in the long term it's a benefit for you. And the best way to do this is to start with a very clear outline of what you need to get done. You know, if you don't have an idea, if you just have a bunch of tasks on the top of your head, you're going to give those out, and then the person's going to be sitting there with no other work to do, and you're paying them for basically nothing. They're getting frustrated, you're getting frustrated. Make a clear outline of exactly what tasks you want them to do, and be clear about with yourself, are these ongoing or are these just short-term one-time tasks where the person's going to do it and then we're done? Because if that's the case, you don't want to hire somebody hourly. You want to hire them for these few jobs and say, look, we're done. I only need you for 5 hours and then that's it. If you're going to have somebody ongoing for 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 hours a week, you've got to know that I've got these repetitive tasks and I'm going to be giving them this stuff also as it comes in. But you need to give them a process for this stuff, and you need to be very clear about what it is that you're going to need them to do, both now, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months from now. The second mistake that I made is, and this is also very common, is I got so excited and liberated by the idea of offloading that I jumped the gun and I posted a job and I saw a couple of decent candidates and I just wanted to hire somebody, get them started right away. So, I took a quick little look at like their feedback and their skills. Boom, hire somebody, get them on board, start giving them the tasks. I look up 2 weeks later, the quality of the work isn't good. They've totally disappeared. They don't respond by Skype anymore. Tons and tons of problems, okay? That's a huge mistake. Resist the temptation to get too excited about hiring somebody and instead do it the right way. Now, the reality of it is you need to screen the candidates the same way that you would if you were hiring for a real job. If you spend the time to do it and you screen candidates the right way, the same way that you would for a real job, what you'll find is, while there's no silver bullet, there's no magic button for this, your results will be, by and large, far better. Most of the people you hire will be direct hits. You'll have some misses, but most of them will be direct hits and they'll be able to do it. So what do I mean exactly by screening candidates? Okay, what I mean is communication skills. What I do is I communicate with people in writing and sometimes by speech as well before I hire them. I will find a question to ask somebody, even if I don't really have a question to ask them, just to see how fast do they respond to me? How clear can I understand them? Did they understand what I was asking? Do they have a good grasp of my language? You know, are they professional in the way that they respond? Are they punctual? Are they fast? Same thing with speech. If the person's going to be doing anything verbally for you, if they're going to be making phone calls, answering phone calls, anything like that, you absolutely want to have a phone conversation or Skype conversation with them before you hire them. Get a sense of, do they have a good command of the language? Do they understand? Do they get tone from when you're talking to them? Are all these things that they're going to represent you well when they're on the job? Feedback ratings. If you're hiring on like Upwork.com or one of these other job sites for outsourcing, they have feedback ratings. Don't ignore that stuff. Take a look at it. Not only what the rating is, but which jobs gave them which ratings. If all their ratings are high overall, but the 3 admin ones are low, that might not be a great hire. If conversely, maybe their feedback's only an 80%, but all the admin jobs they did, they got 100%, great. They're probably pretty good. Previous job responsibilities. You will get people to apply for your job as an admin that have done anything and everything under the sun. It doesn't mean they're qualified just because they apply. You'll get developers, graphic artists. You don't want those people because their passion is something other than administrative work. And as soon as they find something better, they're gone. So what you want to do is find somebody who's a pure admin and go for that kind of person. Make sure they've done this in their past job. Check for responsiveness. As I mentioned, this is a big one because with the outsourcing relationship, people will sometimes just disappear on you. They stop responding, they stop doing the work, they found something better, and they never communicate. So if they're not willing to go back and forth and answer a couple of questions up front about the job and their qualifications, run. Because that person is almost always going to flake on you once you've hired them and you've got them on your staff. Attitude. Read their tone and their attitude and their responses. Are they sort of curt and rude with their quick responses like, I don't want to be bothered by this? Or are they like, absolutely, anything, I want to make sure that our relationship is good? Are they friendly? Do they come across well? Because again, anything they do for you, they're representing you. And so you want them to project the same image that you've got. And then skills, obviously, not to overlook the obvious. Make sure the skills they have listed are the actual skills that you need. If they don't have Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Word, and that's one of the key skills, even if everything else looks good, they might not be able to do the job. So check the skills and make sure. Then narrow it down. Price is a last consideration. Usually the cheapest and the most expensive I throw out, and I go with somebody in the middle. The bottom line is it takes time, but it's going to save you time ultimately down the road. It's also going to save you money, and it's going to save you a ton of frustration in the long run. So the best way to do this is to document it as you go along. Then you build a template for this job and for what type of candidate is best for the job. And then you just update that document as you gain experience with what type of person works and what type of person isn't a good fit. So every time you hire somebody, if there's something good that they have that you didn't think of or something bad, you add that stuff into the job description so you keep refining it. And same thing if the job changes. If one of the tasks you no longer need, eliminate that from the job description. And if there's something new that's been added, add that in. That will make it easier for you if you ever have to replace your admin down the road. It will also make your business a lot more scalable and easier to grow. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you have a question, post it at leverageshow.com so I can answer it for you on a future episode. And until next time, make it happen.